This is the Star Wars The Black Series Rogue One 6-inch scale Baze Malbus. The figure is part of Wave 4 of the Black Series figures for these new Rogue One series of 6-inch figures. Picked up this figure at my local Toys R Us. Pretty nice. He is figure number 37, in case you're wondering. Some people were asking for UPC codes. There you go. Okay. All right. So here he is. One of the protectors of the Jedi Temple. One of the... Yeah, he was a nice little... He was a beefcake during the movie, and then... Oh, wow. He had a glorious death. I'm sure everybody's already seen the movie, so no need to have spoiler alerts. And here he is with the IP man, Chirrut Imwe. Chirrut! And dynamic duo, never looked so good. Oh, man. Anyway, we'll do a separate review for Chirrut. Let's talk about Baze Malbus. One of the more difficult figures to pose, actually, because other than being very, very bulky, he has a lot of molded accessories that really get in the way of his articulation. But regardless of that, it is a magnificent sculpt. I didn't think the sculpt would look this great. I have a few comments about him. We'll talk about that later. But wow, look at this. Just the detail on the figure. I know I gush a lot for a lot of these Hasbro products, but I didn't think it was gonna look this great. His uniform just looked like a regular factory jumpsuit. I wasn't sure how Hasbro was gonna make it look pretty, but somehow they did. They put a little bit of a wash on his uniform. That's great. There's some unevenness. There's shiny plastic here. There's dull matte plastic there. That's fine. It gives it a little bit of a character. They did mold a lot of the bits and pieces of the body armor. That is amazing. I'm loving it, especially this part of the armor, his chest piece. That was his sort of signature part of his armor. I do love that. He also comes with the power pack that powers his big ass gun that he uses to blast stormtroopers, which is cool. It comes with this energy cable, and you will need some assembly once you get this figure. This one is a separate piece. The cable is a separate piece. The gun is a separate piece. I don't want to remove this one because this was a little bit difficult to attach. Talking about the backpack, it's got a nice molded cape. A little bit of a glossy wash. That's fine. Look at the detail of that backpack. Really fantastic. This is how Black Series figures should be. They also included this particular accessory. Was it a communicator or a piece to jam the transmit? Somebody tell me. Sorry, I've seen the movie twice, but I wasn't sure if this was a communicator or that piece he used to pick the lock or whatever. I know. God, how could you forget? Just saw the movie. Anyway, so that you just attach it this way and this way. I'm glad it's a tight fit because I was kind of worried that the tension of the cable would just keep popping off the backpack or would keep popping off, but they seem to stay together fairly nicely. So very nice. The gun, nothing spectacular about it. It's a little bit bent. The paint apps are good. Wish they could have just made the gun bigger, but something tells me this is in the correct scale. But in the movie, the gun just looks so big. But it's fine. It's really great. So paint apps are great. Sculpt is great, magnificent. Let's talk about the head sculpt. No. it's a good effort, but he kind of looks more like Chumley on Pawn Stars rather than this guy. I forgot his name, but yeah, that's my comment. The skin is too smooth. He was battle worn. He had a lot of wrinkles and scars, and yeah, there is you can definitely see some molding, some attempt to mold those scars and those wrinkles, but they didn't pan out. I wish they could have put a little bit more of a wash to it so that he'd look old and aged and rugged, and the face would be like windburned or something like that. But as it is, it's Chumley from Pawn Stars. So, paint apps, sculpt, great. Let's talk about articulation. Put down the gun first, Baze. Okay. Articulation is your standard black series. I have some comments about it. I'll talk about it later. He's got a ball hinge. Yeah, put that away. Ball jointed neck that's on a hinge. The torso, I think, is a ball joint, but you can only effectively just use it as a swivel. Kind of feels it can move up and down, but it just turns, and it's severely hampered by his iPod. Is that an iPod? I don't know. And the ammo pieces, remnants of like a jumpsuit, like an X-wing jumpsuit. So it's kind of hindered, but you can rotate it. He's got a ball hinge shoulder. You can move it in and out. This one is a little bit hampered because of that armor. I haven't been able to just move it out of the way. There is a hinge, but man, it is tight. I don't really care. I don't need his arms to be stretched out, but suffice to say, it is a ball hinge joint, as well as the elbow is a ball hinge. The wrist is a ball hinge. Swivel and goes in and out. This one goes up and down like standard Star Wars articulation. Ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and ankle articulation with the rockers. I'm okay with it. The only problem I have with this ankle articulation, I'll get to that now, is you can move it back, but it would have been nice and helpful for articulating this figure into a more dynamic pose if it could move a little bit more upward. It just can't. That's where the hinge stops, and it kind of sucks that you can't, because I wanted him to be in more of a lunging positions, but as it is, it's very difficult. So yeah, but the rocker joints make the figure a pretty solid figure. So having said all of that, I like the figure. Wasn't sure I was gonna like it that much, but it's gonna get a solid 9 out of 10. I just wish the face sculpt were better, that ankle joint was better, and yeah, and I wish there was a go around with the accessories to be able to pose him better, but you know, that's a trade-off you get for having a great sculpt. You sacrifice a little bit of the articulation and movement, and that's fine with me. So great figure. He might be a little bit difficult to hunt down. For every case delivered, there's 6 figures. There's only 1 Baze Malbus packed in the figure. The other 5 are Chirrut, Krennic, Jin, the Death Trooper, and I think Andor, Cassian Andor, which kind of sucks. Would have been nice, instead of Cassian, they would have put K2SO, and instead of Krennic, maybe they could have put a I don't know, Rook, Bodhi Rook, or Shore Trooper, or I don't know, somebody else, one of the Shore Trooper captain. But you know, there's too much Cassian Andors. Nobody's buying him. Krennic, yeah, he's a peg warmer, so bit of a crappy case assortment. But yeah, best of luck to everybody trying to look for this guy. Hope you enjoyed this little video review. This has been the Star Wars The Black Series, the 6-inch scale Baze Malbus. Thanks for watching.